Hello everyone. You are in the knitting studio in style. Today, we will knit this bag together. It is made from microfiber acrylic. The height of the entire bag, with handles in a non-stretch state, is 52 centimeters. The height of the bag itself without handles is 31 centimeters. The width is 29 centimeters. The diameter of the bottom is 28 centimeters. These are the measurements. If you want to knit this bag along with me, then keep watching. Next, I will show you a diagram and briefly explain how to quickly and easily knit this bag. It is very trendy this summer, so I think it's worth knitting. It definitely won't be a hindrance. Well then, let's get started. To knit our bag, I used Ali's Diver Silk Effect yarn. Here, there are 350 meters per 100 grams. This is 100% microfiber acrylic. I used 120 grams. I used a hook of size 2.5. We will also need a needle. I have one with a sharp end, scissors, a measuring tape, and a notepad with a pen for making calculations. We start with the bottom of the bag. Now, I will show you the diagram I used to crochet this bottom. It is very simple. In each row, the number of stitches increases, thus increasing the diameter of the bottom. You can crochet the diameter according to your preference. You can make the bag slightly smaller. You can make it a little wider. My bottom diameter is approximately 28 centimeters. Here's the diagram. Here, I only showed 7 rows. But in reality, I crocheted 19 rows. Now I will explain to you how we will continue to knit simply in a similar way. Because you might have 19 rows, it might be less. It might be more. Look here, the 5th, 6th, and 7th rows. We will repeat, but we will add the number of stitches. So in the 7th row, you can see that we are knitting 4 double crochets. Therefore, in the 8th and 9th rows, we will be knitting 5 double crochets. In the 10th row, we will knit 6 double crochets. Next, in the 11th and 12th, 7 double crochets. I think you will understand. We knit 2 rows with the same number of double crochets. The next row is the 3rd. We will have 1 more double crochet. Then again, 2 identical rows. And in the next row, 1 double crochet more. This means we do not increase the number of double crochets in every row. We knit 2 rows with the same number of double crochets. The 3rd row we increase by 1. Then the 4th, 5th rows, we increase by 1 and knit the same. And we will keep knitting until we achieve the desired diameter of the bottom. After completing the bottom, we make a slip stitch in the 3rd stitch, a chain stitch for raising, and 1 slip stitch in the next stitch. After that, we begin to knit the mesh. How will we knit it? Experienced knitters, those who have been knitting for a long time, will understand and see this barely noticeable strip in the bag. This is the connection point. We will also continue knitting the bag in a circle and connect the rows. It is, I will say, immediately very hard to notice. I barely found it myself. So don't worry, everything will be inconspicuous and beautiful. That means we will continue to crochet this mesh in a circle. We connect each row and make lifting stitches. This is my 20th row. From this moment, I start to knit the 20th row. How do I knit? I crochet 9 chain stitches. I make 1 single crochet right here in the middle of this zigzag. This corresponds to the 7th double crochet of the previous row. Next, I crochet 6 chain stitches and a slip stitch at the top of the zigzag. Then, I crochet 6 more chain stitches again. I make 1 single crochet in the middle of this zigzag. right here, skipping 5 double crochets from the previous row. Next, I crochet 5 chain stitches. Here, in the indentation of the zigzag, I make 3 double crochets together. That is to say, with a common top. Into the stitch all the way to the indentation, then into the indentation and into the next stitch after the indentation. Meaning 3 double crochets with a common top, we crochet into this indentation. After that, we crochet 5 chain stitches. We skip 5 double crochets, and in the 6th, we make a single crochet in the middle of the zigzag. Next, we crochet 6 chain stitches, and in the top of the zigzag, we make a slip stitch. And we will continue this way until the end of the row. Again, 6 chain stitches at the top and a single crochet in the middle of this zigzag. So it turns out, like near the top of those 2 arches, here I have 6 chain stitches. And closer to the indentation here, I crocheted 5 chain stitches. And in the top of the zigzag, I made a slip stitch. And here in the middles, there are single crochets. In the indentations, 3 double crochets with a common top. This way, I crocheted the entire row. In the end, we make a triple crochet with a common top. And the last half column we count these 2 air loops. They were part of the first 9 air loops. We crocheted this triple column, and then 1 air loop and 1 connecting column in the arch. Here we reach this moment, right here, crochet the connecting column. After that, what will we do? 21 rows. We crochet 6 air loops and 1 connecting column in the arch. Next, again 6 air loops, a connecting column in the arch. This is how we will alternate until the end of the row. That is, my mesh consists of 6 air loops. You can make 7, 8 or conversely, fewer than 4. So if you want bigger holes, crochet more than 6 air loops like I do. If you want smaller ones, then correspondingly fewer air loops. At the end of the row we crochet 6 air loops and make 1 connecting column. The last connecting column of the previous row goes right here, which we crocheted in the arch. That is, we join this row, and we should have 48 arches. Here, we join the row with a connecting column, right here. And after that, we crochet 1 connecting column in the arch. In the next arch, we crochet 1 air loop and 1 connecting column again in this arch. And we move on to the next row. Again, we crochet 6 air loops, connecting column in the arch. And we will repeat this the required number of times. That is, I think, when you reach the end of the row, you will understand that after the last chain of 6 air loops, we make a connecting column into the last connecting column of the previous row. That is, we finish our arch, 48. After that, we always crochet 1 connecting column into the next arch, 1 air loop, and 1 connecting column again in this arch. To reach the center of our next arch, and our connecting row will be slanted. It will go to the side, to the left, right here. But, believe me, it is hardly noticeable, so do not worry about it. So, I crocheted 26 rows of mesh. I alternated 6 chain stitches with 1 slip stitch in the arch. And so, I have knitted 47 rows with the net. When we reach the end of our row, and we understand that the height of the vegetable has reached the desired level, we will, in the last row, accordingly connect the arch. Without knitting 1 slip stitch in the arch, 1 chain stitch and 1 slip stitch in the arch. This means we do not reach the middle of the next arch to knit the next row. But I think you will understand there. I want to say that I have knitted 26 rows, and the vegetable turned out a bit long. If I were knitting a second vegetable, I would shorten it by about 5 rows. So how will we knit further? Here is our vegetable and our handles. How did I knit? I knitted this part, this one. And the one on the opposite side, separately these parts. That is, I knitted like this with turning rows. I knitted this from one side and the other side. After that, I knitted the handles. And we also need to divide the total number of our arches. I have 48 divided by 4. So, one part is this. The second part is on the opposite side. The third is the side part of the vegetable. The fourth is the second side part of the vegetable. So we divide 48 arches by 4. I get 12. So, look here at our connecting row. Here, we finished knitting our net. We knit 1 chain stitch. And we have a height here. And we will be knitting this part of the vegetable with turning rows of single crochet stitches. In total, we should have 10 rows. How do we knit the first row? We are crocheting a single crochet in between the arches. Next, 3 single crochets in the arch. Then again 1 single crochet between the arches. And 3 single crochets in the arch. So, we will repeat this in this row until the end of the row. Thus we are doing this 12 times. That is, there should be 12 arches for this strap. And I got 49 single crochets. We have reached here. 1 chain stitch to rise. We move to the next row. And in the next row, we just crochet single crochets. And all subsequent rows will also be regular single crochets upwards. In total, we should have 10 rows of single crochets. We also crocheted the second strap from the opposite side, right here. Here, we also used and crocheted 12 arches. And it turned out to be this strap. After that, we move on to crocheting the handles and side parts of the vegetables. That is, this part and all of this. We will continue crocheting spirally all together. So, we are starting with 120 chains for the handle. You can also adjust here. You can chain more, or you can chain less. And after that, a slip stitch right here. That is, from this point, connect 120 chain stitches right here. And make sure that our chain of 120 stitches does not twist. So that we connect it evenly like this correctly. And then we crochet around this part. Here, we will have 10 single crochets. After that, we start crocheting around this side part of the vegetables. We crochet 1 single crochet between the arches. And 2 single crochets into the arch, no longer 3. Just like here we crocheted 3 into the arch. Here we crochet 2, to pull the vegetable in a bit. So, we repeat this 12 times. Next, we crochet 10 single crochets here. And we start making the second handle. We also crochet 120 chain stitches. We check to ensure that the chain doesn't twist. And we join it here with a slip stitch. And we compare the length of the handles. We stretch the chains like this, because we can crochet chain stitches with different tension. And one handle may turn out a little bigger, the other smaller. Therefore, we stretch like this and compare, so that our chains are the same. After this, we crochet 10 single crochets here. And again, the next side part of the vegetable here. We crochet, alternating 1 single crochet between the arches, and 2 single crochets into the arch. We repeat this 12 times. After that, we crochet 10 single crochets here. Into the side part of the strip, we reach the beginning of this row, to the chain we initially made. And then we will crochet, just in a spiral. That is, this spot can be marked with a marker, or something else, so that you can count the rows later. although it can all be counted without a marker afterward actually. In general, we continue crocheting in a spiral with single crochets, and in the first row, this chain of stitches we made for the handles. We crochet into the loops, that is, so that here on this side, we have a braid. We crochet not into the front or back wall, but into the loop that goes from the back side of this chain. In total, I've crocheted 8 rows, including this row of chain stitches. Now we continue to knit in a spiral all together. I think you understood. First we knit the bottom, then the mesh. After that, these 2 parts are vegetables. And then we spiral around the handles, together with the side parts of the vegetables. Here, basically, nothing is complicated, but there are some nuances. I think you will manage, and I believe I explained it somewhat clearly, and you will succeed. So, friends, if there are any remaining questions, feel free to ask in the comments. I will try to respond. And wishing everyone a good summer. Wishing everyone